and welcome to episode 89 of Squib Kick Radio. I'm your host, as always, Elias Powell, and I'm joined here just exclusively today by Riley Pollock. Harry is out with a work business endeavor, so he's not with us today, but me and Riles are here holding it down. Riley, what's going on, my dude?
Not a whole lot, just doing some house sitting right now, taking care of a dog, so that's always fun because I have no pets of my own, so big stoked on that, as my buddy is in Saudi Arabia right now for work, so that's kind of cool. So doing a little recording at a different spot, but we got a lot of football shoved down our throats this past week. We had week 1 of NFL. We had a triple header in the CFL on Saturday, so there's a lot to cover today. Eli, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Excited to get back to talking some football. We had a bit of a hiatus due to some technical difficulties that prevented us from putting out an episode, but we're back and we're ready to jump right into it.
Yeah, we sure are. It's a big episode, Eli. Let's break it down.
Okay, well, we're going to start where we always start. Well, we might as well give the people a little overview of what they're going to be listening to for that next X amount of minutes. Of course, as always, we're going to start with our CFL. Then we're going to go into a week 1 review of the NFL. I mean, pretty much the most exciting time of the year. NFL's back. Everyone's happy. And then also moving into some gambling sections. So what we're putting money on. Yeah, what we're putting money on this week. I'm already confident I'm going to go 4-0 this week. So we'll get into that. But like I mentioned, CFL, we're the week, the Labor Day hangover week in the CFL. Riley, tell me what's going on.
Well, yeah, it sure was a hangover. We had 3 rematches from the Labor Day weekend this week, and then BC versus Ottawa. Toronto and Hamilton kicked off the week. It was a tough one for the Ticats. They were already down to Dane Evans as Jeremiah Masoli was hurt at the quarterback position when they played the Riders. And Dane Evans got hurt as well, and he could miss some significant time. So not looking good for Hamilton. But, their third-string quarterback, David Wofford, drove them down the field late on a tying drive, but then their kicker hit the upright on the extra point, and Toronto took them out 17-16. I had Hamilton +3, so, I mean, at least he got enough points for me to cover.
Yep. But
just absolutely gutting for the Tiger Cats, as, you just kind of expect your kicker to hit extra points after a game-winning or a game-tying drive in the last 2 minutes. Well, but that is the CFL.
Yeah,
and that's why we love
it. And it's a tough time to be a kicker in the CFL. The CFL is desperate for kicking talent right now. Kicks are getting missed left and right, up and down, pretty much anywhere except right through the middle where you need them to go. And it's bad. It's getting talked about at pretty much every halftime show. Kickers they're getting beat up. They suck.
Yeah. The thing is that I feel like a lot of NFL teams are keeping kickers or extra kickers on their practice roster because of COVID.
Yep.
So that even waters down the talent pool even that much more. And it's, we're not getting the best. I mean, I love Brett Lauther here. He missed a 50-yarder the other day, and whatever.
He missed a couple.
But, there was that 130-some that we just don't see him miss very often. But, yeah, I mean, if him, John Ryan, easily the best punt. He just doesn't even deserve to be. We don't even deserve him. Like, he is so much better than everyone else in the punting game. But yeah, it's tough for kickers. We'll see if they can bounce back here. We'll see if there's any shuffling. But heading to the Banjo Bowl, it was an absolute mess for the Riders. Winnipeg took about 33-9. It was never close. Cody Fajardo got hurt with a mild concussion, but he is practicing today, so that's a positive. Let's talk about the fight. I mean, 2 Roughriders get kicked out. No Bombers get kicked out, even though Andrew Harris rips a guy around by his face mask and then rips it off his head. There was another receiver that threw a punch on I think it was Kenny Lawler.
Yeah.
Threw a punch and didn't get kicked out. And then one of the defensive linemen, I believe it was Marino for the Riders, lightly slapped a guy on the helmet and got booted. So, I don't know. I think it was garbage reffing. Harris, at the very least, should have been gone from that game, and then he goes on to, it seemed like shift the momentum after two of the Riders' defensive players got kicked out just because they already had 4 starters injured. And, so I think the refs definitely played a part in the momentum shift there. But, I mean, for my money, Winnipeg is hands down the best overall team in the CFL, and I'm not sure there's even a close second right now, Eli.
Yeah, quite a lot to unpack there, Rawls. And I'm going to ask you a question because I do not follow the league on an executive level. But did the league come out and make a statement about that fight in the game?
Apparently, they're still breaking down the film, but it is expected that there won't be any suspensions, but probably some fines. I'd expect that to come out on Wednesday, the day that this drops, as we're recording on Tuesday. But yeah, nothing from the league yet, but I'm sure that it'll come out in the next 24 hours or so, as they probably fine like 10 players.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, these games seem to happen every 2 weeks where you just like totally lose faith in the officiating of the CFL. It was so bad. Like, rider suspensions, I mean, one was maybe a little light, but I mean, there's a brawl, so you never know. You can't hear what's being said or anything like that. But I mean, like, just blatant major penalties on Winnipeg. And, it's like they don't even try, and even the announcers, like, no one knows what's going on. The announcers are like, we're going to go to the league. They're going to go to Toronto and review the film, and then you have, 4 of the dumbest people in Western Canada sitting in a circle trying to dissect what happened on a play where they just look at one player is just, I mean, it's unacceptable. And the fact that there was a fight and they didn't get that right, it's bad. I've literally seen longer video reviews in the NBA than it took for that refereeing and officiating crew to deal out those penalties. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
It was almost as bad, and we didn't do an episode last week. It was almost as bad as that roughing the kicker. We're back-to-back weeks with like just embarrassing calls, where the 2 weeks ago, the kicker kicks the ball, runs into the O-line, and basically runs into someone's ass, and then falls over, and then gets a roughing the kicker call. Obviously, that was overturned, but
thank God.
But that went to review. We had to challenge that.
Yeah.
Like, you telling me the league's not going to review a 9-person brawl? It's getting bad. And if you're a steady listener of this podcast, I'm incredibly hard on the officiating in the CFL. But I mean, at a professional level, you should be better at your job.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That roughing the kicker was complete garbage in the Labor Day Classic, and I'm glad that they overturned it. But the fact that the Riders had to challenge it was embarrassing. Cody, you have some thoughts on old Cody Fajardo, Eli. It started in Labor Day, where, for my money, the worst start of Cody's career as a Saskatchewan Roughrider. We have varying opinions on Cody Fajardo through these 2 weeks. What do you see from Cody? What's going on in your head with Fajardo right now?
Well, a couple things. I see, week 1, he's playing well, even week 2. And then I think even, the first 3 weeks, they were pretty decent from Cody Fajardo. But as soon as we play good teams, I guess I should say, the offense is non-existent, and we can blame it on play calling, which I think Jason Maas has done a terrible job for. Guy, I don't know. Everyone said he's such an offensive mastermind, and like, I don't know. I don't believe it. It doesn't look like he can make adjustments in the game. But Cody himself is not doing well. Like, the guy doesn't throw touchdowns. He might be limited. We don't know what's going on in the background. I think he's not doing very well. I think he's sucking big time. I was at the Labor Day Classic, and I was calling for Harker midway through the third because Cody couldn't hit a barn door. So I think this is a big telltale game coming up, Riley, on the confidence I have in Cody Fajardo moving forward. Because it's one thing to have the worst game of your career, and then it's another thing to have an even worse game the next week.
Yeah, and I feel like Winnipeg's D-line dominated our O-line. I feel like Shaq Evans being out of the lineup is a huge hindrance on this offense because now Kyron Moore is more of the primary guy where I think he should be more of the take the roof off of the defense kind of guy and go deep downfield. And I'm not sure that there is another guy in this Riders receiving core that's going to, run 50 yards downfield, absolutely roast somebody and pick up those big plays. So, and we've seen it since Shaq's gone down. The big plays have been basically zero. I think Braden Lanius had a big one in Winnipeg last week, but other than that, I can't really think of one. So it's Shaq's out of a walking boot, he's saying. So after 1 month with a broken ankle, so hopefully he can get back sooner than later. But yeah, the Riders need to figure it out on offense. The one bright spot on that offense in the past 2 weeks has been William Powell. He's been an absolute beast rushing the ball. He catches balls out of the backfield. He is without a doubt the MVP through the Labor Day game and the Banjo Bowl these past 2 weeks.
Definitely. He's been the lone highlight from our offense. But I'm telling you, Riley, if I don't see a goddamn screen pass or a bootleg heavily used in our next game, I'm going to lose all faith. Sure, it's one thing to, have your offensive line getting crucified and, your quarterback always under pressure. But we borderline have a mobile quarterback. I would even go as far as saying we have a mobile quarterback. And we're not utilizing that in a screen or a...
Just move the pocket a little bit.
Run a bootleg, especially and we run play action, and then Cody just sits in the pocket and misses the one read, and then he gets sacked. So they got to get him out. Jason Maas, he's got apparently word on the street in the offseason is that he's got this insane playbook, the most advanced playbook that Cody's ever ran, and then we can't score touchdowns in 2 weeks. So
every pass is like 6 to 8 yards. I don't know. We're gonna have to see. This is a huge week for the Riders. It seems like Cody will be able to play. He's already practicing, and it's Tuesday. I believe they play Friday this week, so this is a prove-it game for the Riders because they came out of the gates hot. They were the last undefeated team, but they beat Ottawa. They beat BC on basically a quarter of good play, and then they were brutal in the second half offensively. And then they beat a Hamilton team that didn't look good. They have looked better since they played the Riders.
Yep.
But it was a Hamilton team that some people were questioning early in the season. So I think Toronto, out of those four teams, obviously Winnipeg at the top might be the best of the four teams so far. So they have to beat this Argos team this week. And we'll see if it happens.
Yep, definitely. So that's my rant.
Good. I'm glad we're on opposite ends of it. I blame other things besides Cody, but I see where you're coming from. He does need to be better, 100%.
Yeah, I think the offensive play calling's not there. I think it's abysmal at best. But also you just need to play better as a quarterback. Like you can't be 3-0 heading into Labor Day and then be the only team in the CFL to be held to single digits, and the CFL's a scoring league. It's embarrassing.
And we haven't scored a touchdown in two full games for sure. Yeah, and I think
8 quarters.
It's been a while. So we'll see what the Riders can do this week. But we needed to get some Rider angst off our chest there. Moving on to Calgary and Edmonton, the Stamps with a big statement game after losing at home on Labor Day. They crushed the Elks 32-16. Bo Levi returned, looked pretty good. The defense Stamps D-line was all over Trevor Harris. The one guy, Stefan Banks, had 4 sacks. It was an absolute shit kicking by the Stamps on the defensive side of the ball, so good for them. It's the West. I think Winnipeg's number 1, but the West, besides that, is wide open for the taking between BC, Calgary, Edmonton, and Saskatchewan. I have no clue who the second best team in the West Division is right now.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much anyone's for the taking, and I think we'll find out pretty quickly here in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and the thing for BC is they've got to play Ottawa twice. They might be the only team in the West who gets to, and Ottawa is terrible. Yep. BC beat the Red Blacks 45-13 on the weekend. The body language from Ottawa was sickening. They were like moping and walking to the huddle and like throwing their arms up. Dom Davis was not very good. Ottawa's defense is good, but like they're on the field for 3/4 of the game and they got roasted. I mean, BC scored on defense, BC scored on special teams, just all around. Ottawa is a terrible football team. They brought in some names this week to maybe try and help that offense out a bit, but I said this in our group chat the other day. This might be one of the worst football teams I've seen since like the 2003 Hamilton Tiger Cats that went 1-17.
Wow. That is a statement. And
guess who the one win was against that year?
Probably us.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's week 6 from the CFL. I went 2-2 money line, 2-2 against the spread. It's been tough for me, man. It seems like these games are just toss-ups because none of the teams are great. Like you don't really know what team you're going to see every week, so it's been tough gambling-wise so far. But as we look ahead to week 7, the betting odds as of this morning, September 14th, I'm 10-13 money line and against the spread so far this year, so I need a big week. Got to get back over that 500 mark. We have Hamilton -2 versus Calgary. I'm taking the Stampeders +2.5. I think Bo coming back really helped them out. Their defense seems to be finding their rhythm.
Yep.
We don't really know who's going to be starting for Hamilton yet. It could be Masoli or their third string Watford. And Masoli looked bad in those 2 starts that he had before he got hurt. So I'm taking Calgary +2.5 and obviously Calgary money line as well. The Riders are -3.5 versus Toronto. I'm going to take Toronto +3.5, but I think the Riders win within a touchdown, so I'm taking Saskatchewan money line. Toronto seems to play us well at home for some reason. They're pretty good in Mosaic Stadium, but I think the Riders are going to have that prove-it game this week, and they'll win by a field goal or less. BC -1.5 versus Montreal. I'm taking the Owls +1.5. They're just so explosive offensively. I think BC might have a letdown game after crushing Ottawa, so I'm taking Montreal +1.5 and money line. And then this is a tough one for me. I'm taking Winnipeg -8.5 against Edmonton. That's a lot of points to give up. Edmonton did look really good on Labor Day, but they didn't look as good this last week. So I'm going to take Winnipeg -8.5 and Winnipeg money line. So some close lines there that I'm taking a couple dogs. Taking 3 dogs, and then Winnipeg is the favorite with the biggest spread. So we'll see how it goes, but I trust my CFL gut, Eli.
Yep, I would also trust your CFL gut, Rawls. It's been pretty sturdy up until pretty much this season. So
yeah, I was clipping at about 68% against the spread in 2019, yep. But yeah, this season's just been weird.
Yep. All right, and that concludes the CFL recap over kind of the past 2 weeks. Now we move into NFL Week 1, and if I don't say so myself, it was a pretty crazy week. I just was sitting on my couch, and I was like, I don't even know what's happening. You know, everything you expected to happen basically didn't.
Yeah, it was insane. It was absolute madness, and it started with a Thursday nighter.
Yeah. Yeah, the Tampa Dallas game was awesome.
Talk about bad kickers. Zerloin missed that one 30-yarder by about 15 yards to the left.
Yeah. Yeah, he pulled it. Had a case of the pulls. Yeah. It was like my golf swing. Yeah, the Thursday nighter, I mean, Tom looks great. I mean, I think there's 2 major takeaways from the Dallas and Tampa Bay game, and it's both out of Tampa Bay. The first, Gronk is back, which is terrifying. That is terrifying. The fact that they're using him in the offense is nightmare fuel. And then secondly, AB is back, which is equally as terrifying. AB's running at speed that he had like 3 years ago in Pittsburgh. And he doesn't drop footballs. He just doesn't.
That offense is stupid in the passing game. Like, Mike Evans was the clear 4th option on that offense. Yeah. Like, that's insane. Chris Godwin was balling. Gronk was balling. AB was balling. Evans, kind of the forgotten child there. But, like, the thing is he could also have an 180-yard game easily, right? Like, it's...
Yep, for sure.
it's not like he's bad. There's three other really good options. The only thing that didn't look good was their run game. Both their running backs looked pretty bad. Jones had a fumble. Leonard Fournette dropped a couple passes early, but was a little bit better in the pass game late. We saw, who was it, Gio Bernard?
Yep, Gio entered a bit.
He was the quarterback the running back that they had in the backfield on that game-winning drive. Yep. It wasn't the other two. It was Gio Bernard. So, and I know he's a good pass-catching back, and they obviously had to throw the ball, so it makes sense. But Fournette and Ronald Jones owners, fantasy-wise, have to be a little stressed about that whole situation, considering Tom might throw the ball 50 times a game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's too bad Harry's not here because he has both of them on his fantasy team.
Yeah.
On the Dallas Cowboys side of things, I mean, their offense is scary, I would say.
Yeah, Dak looked pretty good.
Yeah, he did. I mean, for completing 42 of 58 passes is aggressive. I don't know. I mean, they must have clearly saw some sort of matchup that they wanted to exploit with Dak throwing the ball, because throwing 58 times when you have Ezekiel Elliott in the run game is aggressive. Mind you, they didn't have Zach Martin, so they get him back. He's off he's off with the COVID, so he's back this week. So probably that will immediately impact Zeke's running game. But yeah, throwing the ball almost 60 times is aggressive in a close game too. That was the other thing that like blew my mind.
But that front seven for Tampa's gross, and like even when Zeke was getting the ball, he doesn't have that explosiveness that I saw from him before.
See,
I'm not sure what it is.
I disagree. I think Zeke looks thinner and he looks quick. I think he was just getting caught up at the line, and I don't know. I think he looked pretty decent. He just didn't have much room, and we really got a small sample size from him. He's a guy that he's that second half back where he punishes you in the first half, and then he starts to eat.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we have to see from him before we can make an actual decision against the front seven that isn't Tampa Bay's.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think the Cowboys look pretty decent. I was just not a huge fan of how often they threw the ball. I think it was pretty easy. Okay, moving on. I think another thing I want to talk about, and it's such a shame that Harry's not here. The Browns, Riley. They went toe to the toe with the Kansas City Chiefs.
They're here and they're ready. They're ready for a run this season.
It's a good team. They have a good defense.
Yeah.
And they didn't even have OBJ.
Yeah, late scratch. Playing buddy in our league that started Odell because he was on the golf course and thought he was going to play. And I still lost, so that's a positive. But yeah, Baker doesn't really turn the ball over too much. I think he had the one bad interception in that game. Yep. But he's going to give you a chance, and that running game is going to give you a chance, and their defense is nasty. It's crazy in the AFC.
Yeah, I think the Browns are the team to beat in that division.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore looked not great.
Nope.
Steelers beat Buffalo,
which is a shocker. I couldn't believe that.
Buffalo looked bad.
Yeah, they had a bit of the early season yips, I think.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. But yeah, Cleveland, I'm proud of them. We gave them a lot of shit on this podcast when they sucked.
Hey, that was a few years ago.
Baker.
I've been warming up. I've been warming up to the Browns the last couple of years. I see what they're doing. I see what you're doing.
Well, you are very pro Baker.
I am. I think he's developed like really well. As far as the quarterbacks from that draft class that weren't bona fide rock stars when they came into the league, I mean, I think he's done well.
Well, yeah, what was it? His rookie year, he didn't look great, but he's steadily improved every single season. Yeah. And yeah, I like Baker a lot. I think he's a nice game manager style quarterback a la Alex Smith, but with maybe a little bit more mobility.
Yep. Chiefs look decent. Tyreek Hill, he's going to do what he's going to do. 11 receptions for 197 yards and touchdown. Burned the shit out of me in fantasy football, so that sucked. And then, Kelsey, he's gonna continue to ball. I mean, 2 touchdowns and 76 yards. The concern for me, which is unfortunate because I have him on both fantasy teams, is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't know. I need to see something from old CEH. Like he's showing his size.
Yeah, he's tiny. He's a little
small.
guy.
He's just small, and I think they need to give him the ball they got to pass him the ball more personally, but.
Yeah, through the air might be the way to go for old CEH. They don't need to run it that much.
No, they
Their
don't.
offense is insane.
Yeah. But also, I think it's just a bit warming up. I mean, he's coming off some pretty big injuries in the last year. He's got to get some confidence back. Their O-line's improved. I think the Kansas City Chiefs will figure out the running. And he got 14 carries. I mean, he's the volume's there.
Yeah, Chubb had 15 for 83 and 2 touchdowns, but that fumble was tough for him.
Yep.
It's we'll see. I like both these teams. I think these two and Buffalo are probably the best 3. Buffalo's gonna figure it out. There's no way they don't.
Yeah, no, Buffalo will be back.
Big surprise for me was how brutal Green Bay looked. That losing 38-3 to the Saints, but man, did Jameis ball out, man. Like 5 touchdown passes for Jameis on 148 yards. He only threw the ball 20 times. Alvin Kamara had 20 carries. Tony Jones Jr. too in that backfield, 11 carries. So they're running that football, and this is a kind of a new look Saints team. You let Jameis throw it when he needs to, and he got the job done when he was supposed to.
Yeah. I for those people that were saying Kamara was going to have a different look without Drew Brees, we're wrong. 20 carries.
Yeah, only three receptions, though, so that is kind of a different look.
But I mean, he's still going to eat from a fantasy standpoint. He's still a really good running back. And then, I think the Packers just needed to be served up a little bit of a humble pie, personally.
Yeah, they need to. Aaron Rodgers, what did he do all summer? He played Jeopardy or hosted Jeopardy. And
hosted Jeopardy and hung it out the lake.
Yeah, so he needs to get back into the groove here. I'm not ready to throw Aaron Rodgers out the window, that's for sure.
No,
but
me neither.
They didn't run the ball very well. All 3, they ran with 3 running backs. None of them did anything. Devontae Adams, 56 yards. That's not a usual stat line for him. So, yeah, I think they just need to get it together, but it was definitely a shock in that loss.
Yeah, definitely. What else we got here? Arizona looks good.
Yeah, they sure do.
Their defense is super scary. Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins they're a pair.
What a match
that is such a move for the Arizona Cardinals to get him. Like, talk about instant impact.
Yeah,
they took him from like 3rd in the division, maybe even 4th, depending on who you ask, to like basically a contender in that division.
Well, that division is insane.
Which is insane as well. The
teams.
fact that you're a contender to win in the division with the Seattle Seahawks, who also looked great, the Niners, and Rams. And I'm missing something.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess the Cardinals.
No, that's the 4th.
Yeah.
That's the 4th.
Yeah.
That's a nasty division. And talking about the Rams, Matt Stafford looked pretty darn good in his first start with the Rams. That team is dangerous. Yeah,
I mean, the Rams came out and did what I thought they would. That was the most Rams win of Rams, football. It's methodical. Stafford's going to dink and dunk. He's one of those guys he's going to take what he gives you, and then they're going to open you up. Cooper Kupp, he's a bad man.
Yeah. Bobby Woods looked good.
Yeah, he had a bit of a quiet game. He got a late touchdown, which saved his fantasy relevance, but hoping to get back. Both of those guys' yards after catch is insane. They're big yak guys. I think they're like 2 and 3 in the NFL for yak yards.
Yeah, it was a good win by the Rams. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about this upset, Pittsburgh over Buffalo, quickly. It looked like the Bills were just going to win like a nice, calm 10-6 type of game, and then Pittsburgh just blows up for 17 points.
Yeah, well,
in the fourth quarter.
Blocked that punt.
Yeah.
As soon as it blocked that punt, it was like, here we go.
Yeah, it was crazy. Tyler Bass with a couple field goals, but that wasn't enough as, the Steelers. Probably the upset of the week over Buffalo, a team who I thought was going to go like 14-2 this year. That's a good win for Pittsburgh, even though I don't think they were like lights out by any means. But did enough to pick up the win over probably a top 4 team in the NFL, so good start. Tyrod, your boy Eli.
Ty God. Yeah, what a legend. Takes the shittiest organization in the NFL and gives them a dub. Love that.
Over the other shittiest organization in the NFL.
Whatever. They're not going. A lot of people thought they weren't going to win a game.
Yeah, I had Houston on those little predictions things that you can do. I had them 2-14, so they're halfway there. Tyrod looked good. The boys look good in Houston, and they're saying Deshaun Who over there. But overall, let's talk about the Monday Nighter before we get into this. That was what a football game.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like just the icing on the cake.
Yeah,
as the Raiders take out the Ravens on Monday Night Football. Eli,
huge game. I mean, I thought it was. I have such mixed feelings about the Ravens because they suck at throwing the ball, and I'm a big believer in you don't really win the football games if you don't throw the ball well. But when it matters, you have Lamar Jackson that will you almost sack him, and then he rips you for a 35-yard run to field goal range with 2 minutes left. I mean, you can't beat that.
That's the thing.
It's tough. Like it's so crazy.
He's 19 of 30, so like not great for 235 and a touchdown, but then 86 on the ground. But he fumbled twice too, right? Like
one was a late fumble, and it was just a sack. So and a really good tackle by Carl Nasom or whatever his name is. But I don't know. Like it was a crazy game. The last play is hilarious. It just looked like the Ravens gave up, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, that was just an absolute bomb from Carr, who threw for 435 yards.
Yeah, it looks like when you're playing. It looked like when you're playing Madden and you're trying to get enough pass yards, and so on defense you just run goal line and then they just toss a little lob. That's what it looked like to me. They just gave up.
It was crazy. But what a week. Week 1 was beautiful. It was just the perfect opening to the season. 9 underdogs in the gambling department won, which is huge.
Hey, I want to give Philly a shout out too. Shout out Philly. They look pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta's bad.
Yeah,
but although their defense wasn't terrible, Atlanta's defense wasn't bad. They, gave up some points late, but, they had a big 4th down stop, couple sacks. They definitely, if the Falcons' offense would have been clicking, kept them in the game. So it's the opposite of what I thought was going to happen. I'm going to give the Falcons 1 week of a pass just because of the new OC and new head coach. But if I don't see more from them, besides Mike Davis, I actually thought he looked pretty decent in his first game with the Falcons. But they need to get that passing offense going because, no one looked good.
Yeah, definitely.
News and /injury report, Eli, before we get into our picks. The funniest news I saw was Vrabel just absolutely roasting Julio Jones for taking a bad 15-yard unnecessary roughness penalty late in the game. He really gave it to him. But, I
love that. I love that move.
You got to call out Julio.
Julio didn't play well. He's a veteran coming in on the team and cut him down at the knees for taking a dumb penalty. I love it.
Yeah, I do too. Jerry Jeudy out 4 to 6 weeks with an ankle injury. Looked pretty nasty.
Yeah, high ankle sprain.
Yeah, so that's not good. Noah Fant, if he's open and available, he's probably going to get a lot more looks. Michael Gallup out 3 to 6 weeks. Not good for the Cowboys, but they still got a couple.
They're just going to feed Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, so that's okay. Jeff Okudah, the 3rd overall pick corner for the Lions.
That's
tore
tough.
His Achilles. Yeah, that sucks.
That sucks.
The Lions didn't need any good players to get hurt because they don't have that many of them.
Nope, exactly.
Raheem Mostert, it was reported as an MCL sprain early, but now he's come to the social medias and said he's done for the season.
Yep.
That's tough. Trey Sermon was a healthy scratch in week 1. We'll see if he draws into the lineup in week 2, but it could be his backfield for the rest of the way as most are out for the whole season. That's a tough one for the Niners, Eli.
Running backs are dropping left and right. It's scary.
And that's why I pick my mandatory 4 running backs in every draft.
Yeah.
You need 4.
I also have 4.
Yeah.
And I lost
Magic.
2. I've lost 2 already.
Yeah, you are. And, our buddy Matt, we don't need to go too deep into our fantasy league, but he has 5 dudes on the injured reserve on his bench already. So
I'm going to just talk about mine because I'm selfish like that, and I need a little bit of pity. In our keeper league, I lost J.K. Dobbins before our draft, and then I take Gus Edwards, and then he goes down as well. So 2 starting running backs there, gone.
And then who do you take? There's Latavius Murray's there, Lev Bell and Devontae Freeman are on the
I really think
right
Lev's going to be a change of pace back. I really don't think he's going to be a starter.
Well, and they have that young guy there too. What's his name? Oh goodness me! It's
Tyson
Williams.
He got a score. He had a good game.
Yeah, so can't really trust the Ravens backfield right now. Possible serious hip injury for Fitzmagic.
Yeah, it sucks.
They say at least 3 weeks, but it could be up to 3 months depending on if he needs like labrum surgery or whatever it is. So they don't really know yet. But it could be Taylor Heineke's ball to run with there in Washington, as he had that the playoff game?
Yeah. I think that's what Washington. I think that's what Washington fans want.
Yeah, he's fun. I fell in love with the guy as a football player just watching that one game. He was fun to watch and just absolutely gutty. So we'll see if he can keep her going with the football team this year. And then one more that I just wanted to talk about. Ayuk. Is he injured? Is he not being played? They have been kind of hush-hush on it. Shanahan there. He had 0 targets in week 1. And that's, obviously cause for concern for fantasy owners and for the Niners.
Yeah. I wouldn't be too worried about it because he's a big guy. He's a good receiver for the Niners. I think just game script didn't do well.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the recap of week 1, Eli. What a week it was.
Yeah, I'm stoked. We're only a couple days away from some more football.
Yes, sir. Let's wrap it up with our favorite segment, Eli.
Yeah, picks. Who won last year? I don't even remember.
You did.
I did? Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Love that.
So, I think that's 2 in a row.
Yep, I think...
Harry might have won his first year with us,
I think Harry
actually.
won his first year, yeah.
All right, well, Harry's not here, but he's given us his pick, so we'll go with his first. This week, Harry is taking the Dallas Cowboys +3 versus the Chargers.
Yep.
Buffalo -3.5 versus Miami. That's got to be a bounce-back game for Buffalo. The Raiders, he's taking his boys +5.5 versus Pittsburgh. I kind of like that one. Vegas
I don't hate that either.
Yeah. And then he's taking KC -3.5 versus Baltimore. Again, KC wasn't great against Cleveland, but as always, they seemed to pull it out in the fourth quarter. They got the job done. Baltimore also didn't look great against the Raiders, but I just don't see that Baltimore team beating KC.
We're too early in the season. In my eyes, those are all winners.
Yeah. Yeah, I love all my picks, but I know I'm going to go 1-3 or something.
Yeah.
So that's Harry's. Mine is Cincinnati +3 versus Chicago. Like that one a lot. I think Cincy looked pretty good in their first week. I got the Rams -4 versus Indy. Just better football team. I'm taking Tampa Bay -12.5 versus the Falcons.
Oof.
I'll hedge my happiness if the Falcons somehow get within that. That's cool. But, Tampa looked like world beaters in week 1 against a Dallas team that I just think is better than the Falcons. And Atlanta didn't look good at all offensively, and now they're playing maybe the best defense in the league. So I'm going to take Tampa -12.5 there, and then I'm taking Dallas +3 versus the Chargers as well. So, a couple overlappers between me. Just one overlapper between me and Harry. I know me and you have one of the same as well, Eli. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go as well Buffalo -3.5 versus Miami. That's a juicy spread. I love that. I'm then going to take Seattle -5.5 against Tennessee. I think there's some things going on in Tennessee that not a lot of people are talking about. They didn't play well. I think they're going to have some growing pains. So, I mean, Russ hasn't missed a step. Seattle's defense also looked good. So I don't know. I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
liking what I'm seeing.
I don't hate it. Must be nice to have some faith in your favorite team.
Yep, it is. I'm going to take, the New Orleans Saints versus Carolina again, -3.5. That's an awesome spread.
Yeah, especially with how good New Orleans looked against.
And it's the Panthers.
Yeah. The Panthers. What did they beat the Jets by 5?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then likewise with you, Riley, I'm going to take Cincy +3 versus Chicago. Everyone's shitting on Cincinnati. I'm a Burrow fan. I think they might play decent. They had a good. They went toe to toe with the Vikings. They beat the Vikings in overtime.
Yeah.
So the Vikings defense isn't amazing, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I like it as well. But yeah, that's our picks for week 2. We didn't do week 1 because of previously mentioned technical difficulties, and me and Eli were both in Saskatchewan. I was there for almost the entire week, so just vacation. We'll call it vacation. Yeah. But before you wrap us up, Eli, I'm going to just give us a Survivor Pool update. Year 3 of the Survivor Pool. We had 15 entries this year. We were kind of late on getting it done, and I didn't open it to the public like I did last year. That was just a mess, having 87 people in there and not knowing 60 of them, tracking down people at the end of the year that won, couldn't find some winners. It was just a mess. So I made it private this year. We had 3 people out of the 15 lose in week 1. One didn't make a pick, and 2 of them chose the Jags over Houston, Eli.
Wow.
They just wanted to get the Jags out of the way, and it bit them in the butt.
I mean,
yeah.
Go with your boy Trevor, I guess. I mean, we didn't even talk about the Jags, but
oh man, they need to run the ball more. Run the ball. Let Trevor get accustomed to the game. Come on now, Urban.
Yeah. Oh well, they're gonna figure it. They're gonna have some growing pains.
Yeah, we'll see how they do. But I mean, come on, Trev, figure it out. That's all I got, Eli.
Okay,
get us out of here.
Yeah. Well, as always, thanks for listening. Check us out on the social medias at Squib Radio, and we will catch you guys after week 2. Peace.
I got you stuck off the realness. Think not this shit's too hot. Too hot. Too hot. Rock you in your face. Dab your brain with your nose bone. I'm a vampire walking on the surface of the sun.